Hey guys, Aaron Dade here, and I wanted to make a quick video on the 5 key elements to emotional intelligence. So the first question you're asking yourself is, why is a marriage restoration ministry making a video or discussing emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence started decades ago, and to be honest with you, it's more of a counseling, therapy, psychologist type of concept that is more worldly knowledge as most people would see it. So why are we going over this as a marriage ministry, as a marriage restoration ministry, which is more of a biblical topic? It's more of something that we don't really discuss a whole lot of worldly concept and how they can be valuable to us. Well, at Kingdom Blueprint, we discuss all types of things that can be valuable to the stander or restorer's journey. We want to make sure that they know what they should be doing while they're attempting to restore a marriage. Emotional intelligence is one of the most powerful things that the enemy uses against you during your stand or doing your attempt to restore a marriage or restore your life. So at Kingdom Blueprint, myself and my wife are Christian life coaches, and we specialize in marriage restoration. We help marriages actually become restored and stay restored. We coach them during their marriage restoration as well. So when you're looking at things like emotional intelligence, is something that you need to have, because the enemy is going to use it against you if you don't have it. So the 5 key elements to emotional intelligence are empathy, social relationships, social skills. There is self-awareness, self-regulation, and also motivation are your 5 typical things, or your 5 real key elements. Some people have different versions of this, but most of the time they're your 5 key elements. So when you're looking at these things, I'm going to first start with empathy, because you have to recognize the enemy is going to use these things against you. They're going to be used against you if you do not know what they are. So we start with empathy, because this is the most powerful portion of emotional intelligence. If you do not have empathy, if you're not empathetic, or if you find somebody is not empathetic in your interactions with them, they are not emotionally intelligent. So we start with empathy. Okay, if you're not empathetic to somebody, that means you cannot have empathy or compassion for their journey. You think that they have lost their way, and it doesn't make a difference why they lost their way or what they lost their way during. They lost their way, and they're not deserving of any level. They're deserving of judgment. You deserve to be vindicated in this situation. They need to be judged for their behavior. Okay, so this is the good guy. The restorer is the good guy, and the prodigal is the bad guy. There's the enemy version, the good guy versus the enemy version. This is when you're lacking empathy for their journey. Your prodigal spouse, if you're dealing with a prodigal spouse that's firmly rooted in their prodigal season, they're going to have issues with lots of things. It could be lust, slothfulness, any one of the deadly sins they're going to deal with. However, you have to have empathy for their journey for yourself. They're a human, and you have to realize that you sin just like they do. And your sin is not on a point system. It's not any better than their sin. God considers sin, all sin is sin, and all sin is detestable. So instead of looking at theirs like yours is better than theirs, you need to look at the situation like they're lost, and I am empathetic towards your journey. Otherwise, the enemy will use that against you. He will make you think that you need to be the judge, and there is something very, very wrong with them, and you deserve the right to judge them. Okay, that's lacking empathy. So now we're going to move into self-awareness, because I look at self-awareness and I can couple it with self-regulation. And I'll go into an example here in a second so we have a little more detail about these things. But I look at self-awareness and I understand what and why I deal with certain emotions for. I don't just say I deal with an emotion and that's just the emotion. It's my emotions are not full of generalities. They're not full of just, oh yeah, well, I feel this way because I feel this way. And I'll go into that here in a second. So then you look at social skills. This is another key element, and or social relationships. To be honest with you, all 5 of the key elements, they all have different subcategories that are attached to them. And if you look at the blog that I also have out there, you will be able to see more of the subcategories that are attached to these things. And the link is actually in our description if you're looking at this video on YouTube, or obviously the blog is below you if you're looking at this video on our blog. Okay, so looking at self-regulation, you have to be able to regulate your own emotions. And then the next one, I would be looking at motivation. You have to understand if you're externally motivated by something or internally motivated by something. Internal motivation is more of a matter of mommy, daddy wounds is a good example of internal motivation. Internal motivation is I do these things because I feel this way inside. And so like in a mom or dad version, it's like I'm looking for a certain different type of approval from them. So I'm looking for a certain type of approval from my mom. So I have a mommy wound. So I'm internally motivated. I do my actions because I want my mom to accept me more than anything. Same thing with dad. I want my dad to accept me. So if you're married to somebody and you understand that they are making these decisions because they want their mom's acceptance or they want their dad's acceptance, that means the cleaving process, cleaving to your spouse, and not accepting that you have a separate family from your family is separate than their family. We're all family, but we're separate. That means you're internally motivated to do things for them and the enemy is using that against you. That's your mommy and daddy wounds type of things for your internal motivation. External motivation is the best example is, or I won't say the best, but a common example for me, especially like if I walked outside and I saw a Lamborghini and now I want to go find the best job that I can. I want to go get as much money as I can because I'm externally motivated by something that I saw. And so now I'm pursuing that external motivation. I'm making decisions based on an external motivation. For men, a lot of times this can be you see a certain woman, you see, as I was talking about a certain car, I'm a car guy, but if you see different things externally, then you become motivated to make decisions that even could be against your own positive living. That is an external motivation that the enemy could be using against you. So like the Lamborghini definitely is how it can inspire the spirit of mammon. You are now trying to serve money to get this external motivation. So then we look at social skills. That's also, if you look socially, some people are introverts, some people are extroverts. There are pluses and minuses to both of them. But the enemy will force you, if you're an extrovert, to talk to everybody, to want to be around everybody. And when you look at your environments, you want to be looking at your environment as somebody that is positively affecting my life. They're increasing my spirit. They're helping me do things on my journey with God. They're not doing things that are going to hurt my journey with God. They're not doing things to make me feel small. That is one of the things that you can see greatly when you're dealing with somebody that it doesn't have proper social skills in an external environment. They want to hang out with everybody. They want to be friends with everybody. They do things just to be friends. This is where you see the people pleasing kind of come out, where I just want to do this to make people happy so they accept me. So that's a negative social skill. Well, when you have an introvert, introverts are great executors. I am an introverted person. I had to work to be an extroverted person where I would talk and see and hang out with everybody. But for the most part, I'm naturally an introverted person. I had to learn that God commands us to fellowship for a reason. You cannot get help on your journey, on any journey that He has you on, if you do not work on the ability to fellowship, if you're not working on what you can do and how you can do it. through fellowshipping. Fellowshipping is a wonderful weapon to use against the enemy. So he doesn't beat you over the head with different things. Well, I can't get help doing this. I can't get help doing that. Since I'm a great executor, I'm going to do it all myself. This is not what God wanted or intended for man in general. And so that's another way that the enemy can use things against you. So we gone over these different things. And I just want to kind of give you guys an example. I like to make things simple when I'm in individual sessions or in virtual group coaching with multiple different people. I try to make things simple so it's easy to understand. So I have 4 kids. And one of the things that I'm not the biggest fan of are things out of place. The way I was raised is everything has a place, everything in its place. And so when things are out of place, it can be very frustrating for me. And this is why. Since I was 12 years old, I've been overcoming juvenile myoclonic epilepsy. So I've dealt with this my entire life. So what that means is my brain overcompensates for things that it is not expecting. So in other words, if I step on a Lego in the middle of the night, my brain will then decide Aaron's body needs to go across the room. So here's an example of this. I was carrying my 18-month-old daughter, the one who liked to throw toys all over the place. Now her name is Naomi. And I was carrying her and I slipped on something that was on the floor. And so I kind of maneuvered myself so the baby, because I have hardwood floors or I have tile floors where I slipped. And so the baby would fall on the carpet. I maneuvered myself so the baby would fall on the carpet instead of falling on that tile floor. Well, when I maneuvered myself, I fell in between the couch. I wedged myself in between the couch and the wall here. And so what ended up happening was I hurt my ribs. And so since I hurt my ribs and since I was going through this, I was hurting my own emotional intelligence. This is why. I am self-aware enough to know that I had an anger problem at one point in time in my life. And so when I fell, I got angry because something was out of place. And when I got angry, then I did not self-regulate. So what I did was I spent the next 7 hours going through my house, everything in that particular spot, making sure nothing was on the floor. I used every resource that I possibly could use to make sure nothing was on the floor. I was not paying attention to the fact that the reason why I was so angry is because when I get angry a lot of times, I'm a competitive person by nature. I like competitive edges. I like everything from sports, Aussie football, regular football, American football, basketball, baseball, all the sports, I love them. And so the competitive edge also comes with a risk of failure, a fear of thinking I'm doing a bad job. So when I see something that surprised me and sent me across the room or almost made me drop my baby, I feel like I'm failing as a father. So therefore now I overcompensated and spent all this time cleaning up the bottom of the room because I did not move into another stage of self-regulation where I was honestly regulating my own and processing my own emotions. So now instead of going through this, instead of overly spending too much time cleaning or doing the rest of that, if I get angry, I learn breathing techniques to calm myself down. Sometimes I will do these breathing techniques during prayer. Sometimes I will do this while I'm reading the Bible if a piece of revelation knowledge has made me angry that I have not gotten it before. In my spiritual journey, sometimes I think to myself, well, I should have known this by now. And then that can make me angry. Again, triggering that fear of missing out. I've lost this competitive edge. I'm failing in this matter. So therefore, I have to learn how to self-regulate. I'm motivated by internal factors. So this is me using my emotional intelligence again. I'm motivated by my legacy. So if I see my legacy, like pretty much everything on the planet is motivated by legacy, and if I see my legacy going well, then I'm motivated to do more things. to do more things towards my legacy going well. If I see it not going well, then I'm motivated to do things to help that legacy. Before, there was a time where I was motivated by other things. I had bad motivations. And so therefore, I did things for negative reasons, for a bad amount of, for bad results, for poor results, and for whatever reason I was happy with those poor results. So a lot of times the key elements of emotional intelligence is about knowing yourself first and then using that to connect with your spouse, or then using that to connect with other people in your environment to be the best version of yourself you possibly can be. And you're going to need that. You're going to need the best relationship you can with God in order to restore your marriage, in order to keep your marriage restored. So again, just a little tip so people can understand: when you are emotionally intelligent, a lot of times you'll look at and say, well, my prodigal spouse is motivated externally by things that they see. So let me bring something that's going to be attractive to them in a godly aspect, in a good way. Let me bring attractive things around them and not negative things around them. Let's not browbeat or judge them, so forth and so on. But in order to do that, you have to know what's inside of yourself. So again, these are the key elements to emotional intelligence. And you guys can look at our website on Kingdom Blueprint 777 so you can find more information. And also look at our channel on Kingdom Blueprint on YouTube so you can see more stuff. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Aaron Dade.